Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abayim to our class on Yalkut Yose. Last topic we were talking about in Hilchot Tefillah was the halachot of passing before someone that is right now praying the Amidah, or actually we spoke about sitting before someone that was praying, and today we'll open up that and talk about someone passing before as well. Johnny has joined us as well. Uncle Mike, Bruchim Abayim. All right. So,
Thank you.
so what is the halacha? What is the halacha regarding passing by somebody that is now praying the Amidah? When it came to sitting down, we said that anywhere within the vicinity of his 4 amot, right? Before him, at least for sure, on the sides, was a problem. Regarding passing, it's a little different. It's not as severe as sitting down. According to the Pshat, the only place you are not allowed to pass by is right in front of him. He's here, you can't pass by in front of him. But if you want to pass from this side or this side, that wouldn't be a problem. That's according to the Pshat. According to the Zohar HaKadosh, no, not just in front of him, but still all around him he would be strict, right? I guess the Zohar HaKadosh holds according to the opinion that the divine presence, the Shekhinah, is with someone that is praying. So it's not about distracting his eyes, it's about being in the presence of the Shekhinah. There's like an aura around him right now. So you're going to tell me, okay, the Zohar says this, the Pshat says this, what do we follow? We're learning Shulchan Aruch. So the Shulchan Aruch, or I guess the Yalkut Yose, is the dry halacha, and it doesn't follow the Kabbalah. But why does it bring the opinion of the Kabbalah or the Zohar? So first of all, welcome to the halachic world. We'll find many times that the halacha according to the Pshat is like this, according to Kabbalah is like that. And there are people that live according to Kabbalah, those that follow the Ari Kadosh, and nobody argues that the Ari is Kadosh. But some people say that's for people on a different level. Most of us need the Pshat, and that's what we follow, and that's what we are learning, Yalkut Yosef. If you can add to yourself also the stuff that the Zohar pushes or the Kabbalah pushes, amazing. That would be glorifying Hashem's name by keeping the mitzvah. How does it go in the Shirat Hayam? That when you mehader, lehader b'mitzvot, right? Ze eli ve'anveo, that's what it says. Ze eli ve'anveo. Like we read in Shirat Hayam, the Mefarshim explain what is Ze eli ve'anveo. Glorify Hashem with the mitzvot. One of the ways of glorifying Hashem's name, according to Rav Meir Eliyahu, is by keeping the halacha according to more opinions. So if we pass by somebody only from the sides, we're keeping the halacha. That's the halacha. But if we also make sure not to pass on the sides of him while he's praying Amidah, then we'll also be keeping halacha according to the Zohar. Is that an obligation? According to the Pshat, no. But if you do it,
What about the back? I think the Zohar says the back also, right?
so it seems like according to the Zohar, as I said, all of his 4 amot, anything around him would be
All around.
strict. Yes. The Yalkut Yose wrote he is machmir bazeh. He is strict on this, so that's my understanding. That it's the 4 amot, and as we said, it must be because of the divine presence. Yes, it's just like a holy entity, the whole 4 amot around him. So even behind him would be a problem. All right. Now, what happens if I want to do my moonwalk? I want to take my 3 steps back, but when I take, wait, someone else joined us as well. Yona, Baruch haba. William, Baruch haba. Yofi, Baruch haba. Okay. I want to take my 3 steps back. Am I allowed to take them if I know that they're not going to end right in front of him? He is here. I'm here. So when I go, I'm not going to meet him. I'm going to meet on the side of him. Is that okay? Many years ago, Rabbi Shu told us, we learned this halacha from Rabbi Shu, but also Yosef says that as long as you don't end right in front of him, then at least according to the Pshat, that would be okay. You can be lenient on that. Meaning, even if your shoulders touch, but it's not exactly in front of him, according to the Peshat, you have something to lean on to do that. Especially if it's someone old, someone sick, or if it's on a fast day and somebody is tired. Why is the Yalkut Yosef bringing us all these examples? From this, I understand that if he's not old, and he's not sick, and it's not a fast day and he's tired, even that better not to do. You have room to be lenient. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. But we understand that it's not just about distracting the person. There's also some sort of divine presence while somebody is praying, and therefore, if you can avoid it, better. But we'll see soon that certain situations, like the example I gave you last week, Shat Adchak, it causes problems right now to hold. So we'll see the leniencies. For example, Kohen washed his hands in the morning. He woke up in the morning, he did Netilat Yadayim. Comes to Bet Knesset. Shulchan Aruch says before he goes up to the bima to do Birkat Kohanim, we have a Kohen with us, we have Uncle Mike with us, he'll tell you. Before he goes to Birkat Kohanim, the Levi, which happens to be me over here, we have to wash the hands of the Kohanim, right? Now, what happens if the Kohen wants to get to the Netilah station, but in the Netilah station, there's somebody right before it praying Amidah? Am I allowed to pass before him to wash my hands, or am I not? Says the Yalkut Yose, there is opinion that the Rambam brings, that you are allowed to rely on the Netilat Yadayim of the morning if you make sure that your hands did not touch anything, if they were kept in a cleanly manner. You can rely on the opinion of the Rambam, and you don't have to wash your hands. Go up to the bima, and do not distract the guy that is praying right now Amidah, right?
What if his hands weren't clean?
If your hands weren't clean, or if the netilah you did in the morning, maybe you didn't do it yet, or you didn't do it perfectly, and you don't want to rely on it, then you would be allowed to pass in front of him. I guess you are allowed to because you're doing it letzorech mitzvah. You're not just passing by for your comfort. You're passing by because you have an obligation. You're supposed to go up to the stage now and represent the Kohanim, and therefore it would be allowed. But what's surprising to me is that he's not saying, when you have the opportunity to wash your hands for Birkat Kohanim, go do it even if someone is praying, because it's a mitzvah. He says, no, even if it's a mitzvah, if you are able to rely on the fact that your hands stayed clean, better not to pass by. Again, a signal showing us that something is happening while praying, someone is praying Amidah. And gentlemen, I take this as a rebuke to me, as a musar to me. If I'm not connecting enough to this, it means that something is not happening when I'm praying Amidah. So I'm saying, all right, I guess I need to improve in that. But something is happening. There's a divine presence. Try not to pass before somebody. All right. Now, what happens if you're a teacher? You need to give a shiur right now, and you want to leave the Bet Knesset, but somebody's praying Amidah right in front of the entrance. Am I allowed to leave and pass through his Arba Amot right in front of him? The answer over here again is yes, because you want to do something good and not bother a guy that is praying Amidah, that even he himself put him in a place that is not so great. Some rabbis say, I heard from Rav Budbul, the son-in-law of Rav Ovadia, that if he put himself in a place of a pathway, it's his problem. Not everybody. I didn't see that Yosef saying this, but I'm saying this opinion exists. But if he's there, and now because he's standing there, there's 5, 10, 20 guys that I need to give a shiur to them, and they're missing a shiur Torah because of this, what am I gaining? I'm losing much more than I'm gaining. Says the Yalkut Yosef, you will be allowed to pass before him and give the shiur. Interesting case. Let's see if any of you can guess what happens in this case. We are standing outside of, let's say, in 54, there's the long mincha arvit, whenever there's a sal or something like that especially, and there's the breakaway minyan in the small Bet Knesset, all right? The breakaway minyan went there and it's praying, but what happened? They only have 9 guys, so now they're looking for the 10th. So they come back into the big Bet Knesset and they're eyeing. But the problem is that there's a guy blocking the Knisa praying Amidah, and you say, come. He says, well, I'm going to come to be mashlim the asiri for your minyan, but I'm going to pass by this guy right now that is praying Amidah. So what do you think? Are we allowed to pass by him or not?
Yes.
Says Jacob Hajibai, we would be allowed to pass by.
Yes, because you were making another minyan, and it's important you cannot.
Very nice. I won't say that opinion is not true. Most of the times when I ask a question, either way you go, you're good. So Jacob the Jewish way is to have a machloket, right? If it's not, there's no, there's the joke that people were fighting in a Bet Knesset. Oh, on this day we say vidui. No, when we have this, we don't say vidui. And both groups were fighting. So one guy got up and said, why are you arguing? Just follow the minhag. What is the minhag of the makom? So he got up and says, no, the minhag is the makom that we argue. What is the halacha? This is the minhag. So a lot of the times in Judaism, we have machlokot. I'm joking that is a minhag. But of course, we'll have an opinion to here and there. So there's a machloket. And since there is a machloket, says the Yalkut Yosef, Bishat adchak. What is tchad adchak? Meaning if he's finishing in 30 seconds, you can wait. It's okay. But if it's already taking a long time and the people are waiting and maybe somebody will go and it's uncomfortable, you're making the tzibur wait in an uncomfortable manner, then you would be allowed to pass. And he throws in something else, Simon Baruch haba. He throws in something else. He also says, especially if the guy praying is, for example, one of those people that when they pray Amidah, he covers his head with a talit. Have you ever seen people do that? They mamash not just, they cover their, they don't see you. Why does he bring that opinion? Why does he say that if the guy is covering his head with a talit, there's even more of a reason to be allowed to pass by him?
Because you will not distract him.
Exactly. Chazaku Baruch. Because one of the opinions is that we're distracting him. So at least he says, according to the Pshat, now he's not being distracted. He's covered. According to the Zohar, there's the divine presence over there. It's still bothering. Yeah, but when we put it on the scale, 10 people may miss a minyan, you want to help them, then it would be allowed. All right. Now, the example that I gave before, I already, brought the news earlier, but if someone is blocking the pathway, we want to come in and out of the Bet Knesset. This happens so much in the minyan that I go to. When people come, they just pray Amidah in the entrance. I don't know, they like being close to the entrance. They play Amidah right in the entrance of the door. A guy wants to come in, wants to come out. What does he do? Same halacha over here. It says the Yalkut Yose, Bishat Adchak, when it's uncomfortable, when there's some sort of discomfort, you will be allowed to pass before him. Honestly, sometimes it's not so uncomfortable. Stay. Let's say you were late. He already is praying Amidah. He's going to be done in 2 minutes. If it's comfortable enough to wait the 2 minutes, let's say anyway you're not starting Amidah, because you're waiting for the Chazan to do the Chazara so that you start with him, and then it's considered a complete Tefillah b'minyan. Plus, you will be able to say Kedusha. If you're going to start alone right now, maybe it'll be a Tefillah b'minyan because you're praying while other people are praying. Yes, you get a check on the minyan, but you're going to miss Kedusha. Maybe we'll talk about that soon as well, B'ezrat Hashem. So the ideal thing would be to wait until he starts, unless you know you're going to finish before he starts the Chazara, so you make it to Kedusha. But if you know you're going to miss Kedusha, as we learned, better to wait so that you could hit the Kedusha. Start with him. So anyway, I'm waiting now. So why walk in the Bet Knesset? Let the guy finish. But if it's Yichat Adchak, if you're not waiting, if it's starting right away, you want to go in, you want to be inside the room, then you would be allowed. Now, what if I'm the Chazan? Baruch Hashem, we have many people here with nice voices. They want to be Chazan for the Tzibur. And I'm Chazan, and behind me, a guy decided to pray Amidah of Yom Kippur. 1 hour he's praying Amidah. I want to do my moonwalk. How do I do it? Am I allowed to do my 3 steps back or not? Says the Yalkut Yose, don't be matriach tzibur. You want to do now something so that you wait for him. You have people, sometimes it's not just 10. Minyan, 100 people. They're all waiting for this guy so that you don't finish your Amidah? No. The answer is, you should start. But what does he say? He doesn't say, take the steps back and then go and start. He says, start the Amidah without taking 3 steps back. You don't have to do that. What should you do? Whenever you get to Kaddish Titkabal, in Kaddish Titkabal, Oseh Shalom B'momav, you're going to take 3 steps back. Those 3 steps that you take, you could lean on them to be as if you did Oseh Shalom in Amidah, and that's why that's sufficient. You could start without doing the 3 steps back. Better to do that, because if you do take 3 steps back, you're going in his place, even though you're allowed to, but you don't have to. You have the Kaddish Titkabal where you have 3 steps back, and you could lean on that, and therefore there is no need to take the actual steps back. You understand? There's a thin line here. We're learning the dry halacha, but the Yalkut Yosef keeps on finding ways for us that even though the dry halacha may allow us to do something, to not bother the mitpalel, to give him his space. Right, so that was passing by or sitting in front of someone, and now we are reaching a new siman in Shulchan Aruch. This siman is siman Kuf Daled, 104. Right? By the way, the Ilchot of Tefillah end at Kuf Kaf Zayin, 127. Give you a feeling of where we're holding. We're much more through half of the Ilchot of just of Amidah. So now what happens regarding in Siman Kuf Daled, in Efsek Batfilah, when am I allowed to stop my Amidah? So the dry halacha brings Yalkut Yosef is that you're not allowed to stop praying afilu mipnei yir'ah, even if there's someone that you fear. The IRS walked in, the judge walked in, you have fear from him, so you want to stop and wave to him? No, we are not allowed to stop even mipnei yir'ah. Kol sheken, how much more so mipnei kavod, if someone that you honor, you want to stop your Amidah, say hello, Definitely not. But even if it's something that you're scared of, you still don't stop your Amidah. Right. So that's an introduction to how we try very much not to stop our Amidah for any price. By the way, same thing for Birkat Hamazon. Not all of Birkat Hamazon, but the first berachot of Until Uvnei Yerushalayim. Once you get to Harachaman, all of that, those are additions in Birkat Hamazon. They're still important. They're from Chachamim, but over there you would be allowed to, to stop in certain cases.
Deep, sorry. But if you're in danger, if your life is in danger, you should stop.
Right. That's Yir'ah means Yir'ah, a fear of like a government, not a fear.
I mean, if you're in front of a king and you don't stop, the chances are maybe he's gonna kill you or something.
Do you think that's maybe the king of Thailand? Maybe I'm saying, but
back in the day.
Of course, yeah.
That's what we
story. If you listen, nothing beats the risk of life. Okay, but back in the day, the halacha was that if you're praying Amidah and a snake is around your feet, you're not allowed to stop. You tell me why? There's a danger of a snake. Today, the halacha changed.
Depends which kind of snake, though.
So, very good.
Poison.
Back then, they lived among snakes. The snakes were in the house, they were in the garden, they see them all the time. They knew this one is dangerous, this one is not dangerous. I'm praying Amidah. It's like a cat around me. It doesn't do anything. But nowadays, how many people know if this snake is dangerous, this is not dangerous? And for the halacha would be run for your life, or I don't know if running for your life is the right thing to do with the snake. Maybe there's different strategies. I'm not an expert in catching snakes or running away from snakes, but like the bear, they say running, he'll run after you. I don't know what you do with the snake. It seems like finding a way to get rid of the snake that would be allowed, because today it's considered a life risk. So if you're living in a time where if you don't say hello, then you're scared for your life, then of course that's not a question. The question is it's something that you fear of, but it's not a life-threatening situation. Right.
How is it? Sometimes the Chazan is like pausing for the people for Kohanim to come. That's not allowed, right? He should just like read slowly, I guess. But sometimes they like really stop and they wait for the rest of the Kohanim to come.
So you're asking a good question. He is allowed to slow down. I don't know about stopping, like how long is the pause? We learned that any pause that is going to be longer than the whole time it takes somebody to pray Amidah is already a sufficient reason to not stop, meaning that's considered that he has to pray again. So a chazan, he should not pause. What is he allowed to do? He is allowed to slow down because the halacha says that the Kohanim are not allowed to come towards the bima after Ritzeh. Once the words Ritzeh come out of the Chazan's mouth, if the Kohen didn't start to make a move towards the bima, no Birkat Kohanim for him. Uncle Mike, I don't know if you knew this. I'm sure you're always very quick to the mitzvot, so you run right away to wash your hands. But Ritzeh is the finish line. If you got to Ritzeh and you're still in your seat, you have a problem.
But you have to go back? You have to go out? If you didn't start?
It seems like probably you would have to go out. No, but listen, sometimes the guy didn't go because he's praying Amidah. Praying Amidah, I don't have to go out. But if you were just chilling, it seems like it's a problem. I would say maybe there's a fear that people would speak about you if you don't go out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a requirement, but my logic tells me yes. So sometimes people wait. But if you started going to the Netilah station before Ritzeh, even though you didn't start walking towards the bima for Ritzeh, you already made a move towards the mitzvah Birkat Kohanim. Therefore, it's in the family. It's not that you have to walk to the bima, it's that you have to start preparing yourself for this mitzvah. So when you go to wash your hands and you come, they already start Ritzeh. It's okay. This happens a lot. I've been to Shari Rachamim, and a lot of the times on Shabbat, the Chazan starts slowing down right before Ritzeh, or even if he starts Ritzeh, because the last Kohanim are coming. You have a long line for Kohanim. You're going to blame a Kohen for not making it on time. He had 20 people, Baruch Hashem, we had big Bet Knesset, 20 people were online, and the Levim, they do their job very well, thoroughly. Someone is giving a massage to the Kohen, someone is what. So the whole thing that's happening there is making him stall, but he started before Ritzeh, he will be allowed to go. Okay. Now, if there is Kaddish or Kedusha, and I'm praying Amidah, what is the halacha? What do I do? So the dry halacha says, Kaddish and Kedusha, we have learned that it's even more important Tefillah b'minyan. Oh, very good. So stop. How exactly? We'll touch that. We need to elaborate on this because
Stop without talking, without doing anything, without answering.
okay, Johnny.
Depends where are you. Depends where are you in your Amidah.
You know, sometimes the answers in the multiple choices, all the answers are right. So everything you said right now is right, but we need to learn how to differentiate because there's a very important distinction that we need to make. So Kaddish and Dusha are very important. And we even learned that if someone has an opportunity to pray in a minyan or catch the Kaddish or the Kedusha, more important that he catches those than the Amidah. So what happens if the Chazan is doing Chazara and I'm still in Amidah? I haven't finished yet. Let's say I'm in the middle of my Amidah. I haven't reached Elokai Netzol. Once you reach the Elokai Netzol, the rules change, right? Because you really finished the Berachot, now it's just an addition. Or you just haven't done Oseh Shalom B'Yomah. But if I'm in actually the middle of Amidah, the dry halacha says that you would stop wherever you're praying. Don't say anything. Don't answer amen. Don't answer amen to the berachot, whatever it is. But listen. Listen and have kavanah. And the chazan is having kavanah to be mutziyu yadei chova, and you're good. So what's the chidush? Ziv, what are you telling us that maybe we need to make a distinction? You can only do that, and you can only stop when you know that this chazan has you in mind. But who can tell me today that a random chazan that is going up the stage is having me in mind? Some B'tei Knesset in Israel, there's a sign. Once you are the chazan on the stage, please know that you have in mind to be Mutzi Yedei Chovah, everybody in the crowd. If you make that distinction, yeah, it's in his mind. But I think most chazanim today, Yalkut Yose writes, if it's a chazan kavua, if he's always the chazan, let's say Rabbi John Levy, he's always the chazan. I believe that he's a rabbi and it's always in his mind. So I would rely and say, okay, he has us in mind. But if someone that's not usually chazan, he has a kaddish, he wants to get up, he's the chazan today. I don't know if he has me in mind. So if he doesn't have me in mind and I'm stopping, it's a problem. I'm supposed to stop. Like Ilan was saying before, no stopping in Amidah. So only if you can be sure that he is stopping for you, stop. But if not, that he has you in mind, stop. If not, keep on praying, even though Kedusha is happening, even though Kaddish is happening. And from here, there's another important halacha that connects to this. If you are the chazan, make sure that when you say the Kedusha, Kadosh, 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 Baruch Hashem, Kivod Mikomo, when you say those, say them out loud, because if let's say you are Motzi Yedei Chovah De'Prad. Now I'm the chazan and I know the halacha. So I don't know if everybody here knows the halacha, that they need to rely that I know. I know the halacha. I want to be Motzi Yedei Chovah, anyone that's hearing me during Amidah. How am I Motzi Yedei Chovah somebody if he doesn't hear me? He has to hear me. Everybody in the crowd doesn't have him in mind to be Motzi Yedei Chovah. People are just saying Kedusha. He can hear their voice. My voice has to be above their voice. Some poskim would say, don't even start saying anything until the entire crowd finished. Because once they finish the Kadosh 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 Kivodo, now you're heard. Since I need to be heard to be Motzi Yedei Chovah Acherim, I wait for that. But if your voice is powerful enough to even say it above the crowd while they are talking, okay, start with them. But make sure that if you are chazan, you're Kadosh, 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 don't whisper it. You have to be louder than the rest of the crowd. Or wait until the crowd finishes.
Just those 3 words or the whole first section?
No, the whole Kedusha. I'm talking about every single word in the Kedusha. They need to hear and be Yotzei Yedei Chovah by you. So when you say everybody's saying it together. If you have a soft voice and everybody in the crowd is louder than you, then you're not Motzi Yedei Chovah him. If you notice that you're not able to speak above the crowd, wait. Once they finish, say Nagdishach v'naritzach. I think that would be a little bit strange for a crowd that's not used to it. Why is he repeating everything again? So first of all, that's okay. Sometimes they need to learn the halacha. But preferably, if you could speak out loud and be the chazan, and they'll feel like you are trying to make your voice above them, and they'll feel it and lower themselves. But if it's someone that doesn't have those senses and the crowd is not feeling him, wait, just make sure that you are loud enough. Unless you look back and you see that everybody in the crowd already finished their Amidah. But almost always, when the Chazan is starting, somebody did not finish his Amidah, and he is in need of being Yotzei Yedei Chovah B'Yor Kedusha. He wants it. It's a big deal. Okay. Next halacha. What happens when there's a rabbi or a chacham in the crowd? So it says the Yalkut Yosef, the custom is that we wait for him, even if he's taking a few more minutes. It's the honor of the crowd to wait for the rabbi or to wait for the Talmid Chacham that's in the Bet Knesset, that he will finish the Amidah. The crowd should wait. But if he sees that he's taking too long, is the rabbi allowed to say, don't worry about me, continue? It says that Yalkut Yose, depends. If he's stalling a little bit, what is a little bit? Great territory. But let's say he's a minute or two after everybody, he's not allowed to do that. But if he's stalling so much that what's happening now, he's becoming distracted. He wants to pray Shema Kolenu and he's crying and he's talking to Hashem. And everybody finished a few minutes ago. All of a sudden he says, oh my God, they're all waiting for me. They're all waiting for me. He cannot pray focused anymore. If that happens, he would be allowed to create a distraction in his own tefillah, to look back at the chazan, because usually the rabbi is in the front, and say, continue. This happens to me almost religiously in a minyan that I sometimes pray to. I don't always go to it because it's a net, but whenever I have the zchut and I pray there, the rabbi is a big tzaddik. He was praying a very long time. So a lot of the time he looks back at the chazan. I think I measured it. It's about 7 minutes. Most amidot in Batei Knesset are 4 minutes. 5 minutes is a very good amount of amidah. 6 minutes. The rabbi already reaches 7 minutes. He turns around. He says, stop. He knows it takes him 10 minutes. I don't know how long. He can't focus anymore. It's taking away from his tefillah because he knows so many people are waiting for him. He will be allowed to signal. Okay, wait, we have.
Ziv, can I ask you something? Sorry, about what we said before. When someone prays by himself, not by himself. He's praying and they're doing the kedusha soon. Up to which point you can answer? I think the second Yiratzon.
If he reached Amvarech Tamo Yisrael Bashalom, Amen, and then he starts Elokai Netzor, even before he started Elokai Netzor, if he is at that point where he finished the last beracha, he is already allowed to answer the two main parts of the kedusha.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
The kadosh
Not the last one.
If he already is at the second Yehil Ratzon, but he just didn't do Oseh Shalom Bimromav, over there he can even answer everything from A to Z.
So before the first Yiratzon, you can answer only the first two brachot, not the last one. And if you are the second,
even before Elokai Netzor, not even the Yehil Ratzon of the.
okay.
I don't know what you're referring to, because some have 3. For example, those that add tefillot, they have 3 according to the Siddur of the Ben Ish Chai. But either way, I didn't start Elokai Netzor yet, but I finished Amvarech Tamo Yisrael Bashalom, Amen. You're probably referring to that Yehil Ratzon.
Yeah, you can answer the first two, but not the last one. And if you're all the way to the end, before Oseh Shalom, you can answer all of them.
Exactly. That's the halakha.
Ziv,
Thank you.
Ziv, sorry, regarding the Kaddish, can we walk in front of anyone that's reciting Kaddish?
The same din. It would be the same din, where we don't want to disturb the divine presence. Okay. Okay, I think we have reached the time, so perhaps we will leave this halakha for next time. Rabotai, it was great seeing such a nice crowd today. Hazakim beruchim. Inshallah, we'll see you next week. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
All too.